Hello folks, welcome to this look at a new release of Worldographer. Now we are on version 1.57, which you can see up in the top menu bar there. If you're not using the latest, you'll see an update available button here, which will menu bar option, which then will let you get a chance to see what's new since you've last updated, as well as open a link to that download page. And the changes this time are a little modest, so this will be a pretty quick video, but there's some bug fixes bug fixes as well, and some other things happening behind the scenes. So the big change is these labels on the buildings. So any building that's basically not just a house is going to have a small label on it. Those are something that the labels themselves have been in the program for a while. You can go here to select, and we can select this wine cellar, and you could change it here. You can also use this distance setting to push it down further. For example, if we wanted to jump down 100% of a hex, then it kind of just gets that label off of the building itself. So that's but that's the change is to have these labels. You can also pull up the notes of a building that you've selected by hitting that notes of selected, and then it comes up with details about that, which then you can edit and so forth. You can also go to add view edit note instead, and then we can pick a different building, for example. So any of these yellow squares kind of designate that there's a note there, so we can see the staff at the shoemaker here. You can also use that to filter. So if we type in tavern, for example, here, only buildings that are taverns, like this one here, will still have their little note icon on, as long as this checkbox is on. If it's off, then all the notes are off. You can also turn off these feature labels that are here by hitting this checkbox here. Let's show another map, creating another map so that you can see the actual change, what's different. In order to get these labels on, you've got this new field, and so you can set the label to be the name, the coordinate, name and coordinate, or none. Now the coordinate is, if you imagine, maps, paper maps often are divided into sections across the top and along the side. Usually they're lettered on one and numbered on the other, or lettered on both. In our case, what we're doing is we would be lettering both. I'll create another one with name and coordinate here, which actually should be coordinate and name since we put the coordinate first, but I digress. So here's a new settlement. And if you're familiar with Worldographer and the city generation, it takes a minute or two to run just based on how many residents are you trying to generate, the speed of your computer, and how large of a map area that you have. If you've got a smaller map area and you're trying to put in the same number of residents, well, it's trying many times over and failing to put those buildings down. So again, if I zoom in here, you can see that we have a coordinate EG1 Barber. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what's there. If it's just a house, it's not going to have a special label. So that's one user-facing change, if you will. Like I said, there's also some bug fixes there. The other user-facing change is I can go to Configure and Configuration Subfolders, and if you've watched some other videos of Worldography, you've probably seen this before, where you can show your configuration folder, which just gives you the path to where Worldographer is going to look, and usually you have to create that folder. You can change that configuration folder, and this will bring up a file chooser. And then you can go to Add Configuration Dialog, or Subfolders rather. That brings up this dialog, and we can pick any of these. And so, for example, if I wanted to pull up we're on settlement, so we're going to look at the Vikings there, for example. So if we were doing a more Viking town, we could go ahead and pull that up, hit this. And what that's doing is now the change is that it's adding an extra category here to this drop down so that I can see just the Viking buildings if I wanted to. So again, like I said, it's a modest update this time around. Lots of things going on behind the scenes, though, as well as a few bug fixes, particularly around the configuration of settlement data. We had a couple of fixes there, for example. So thanks for your interest. I hope you're able to make some interesting and fun, useful maps for your game. Thanks.